And out of their West Indian island comes a tale of terror and voodoo, of witchcraft and zombies.
And a farmer with the longest shotgun you've ever seen plays the villain.
This is Schlock Your Socks Off.
Welcome to another episode of Schlock Your Socks Off. I'm your host, Mike, joined once again by
Miah
and
Bri.
And we are here today with a fantastic and incredibly schlocky film. If you haven't guessed what we were going to do this week, just based on the past 2 weeks, then you might not be paying attention.
Well, they might not have seen it coming. I mean, it's a lot of people, I think, have forgotten about this movie, actually.
That's true. It was not looked upon favorably when it came out, was it?
I don't think so. And I think we should start off by saying, like, it is pretty ridiculous of an idea already, just because these are two horror icons that already have 6+ movies in their series individually. But I like this movie.
Yeah, this is the Godzilla vs. Mothra of 80s slasher films. It is the one and only Freddy vs. Jason.
Oh, yeah.
So, brief synopsis, of course, is Freddy vs. Jason takes place in a time and place in the world where Springwood has forgotten about Freddy Krueger. All the children who remember him have been locked up in Weston Hills and given Hypnosil so they don't dream about him. So Freddy, being the sneaky little bastard that he is, gets into the head of a dormant but not dead Jason and tells him to go to Springwood to start killing, to bring the fear back.
And yeah, so it starts off with, like, Jason dreaming about killing a camper going skinny dipping without her boyfriend, like calling out to her boyfriend or whatever. So we get to see a pretty solid Jason kill at the very beginning of the movie. Even though we find out it's a dream, it's still a really good kill to start off the movie. And then Freddy sends Jason to Elm Street, the house where everything happened once before, or twice before, or 3 times before.
Several times before. We'll just leave it at that.
Several times before.
So he sends him there, where, of course, there's a bunch of underage 20-somethings.
Did you say underage?
Yeah, underage 20-somethings. Drinking beer and having sex in that house. And Jason Voorhees shows up while... I think there's 5 of them there or whatever, and proceeds to get to one of the best kills in the movie, where he stabs through the guy who's being a complete asshole, wanting to have sex with his girlfriend. What was the line he said again? It was a pretty good one.
What line?
Where he's just like, "You come in here, I'm not gonna ask you again."
Yeah, he's like, "Don't make me ask twice."
Yeah, that's right. So that guy's waiting in the bed to have sex with his girlfriend, or he just had sex with his girlfriend.
They just had, and he's drinking in bed.
Yeah, he didn't have to say it again, I guess. And
he does not like being touched
afterwards. He made that abundantly clear.
So this Prince Charming got stabbed through the back multiple times. It was pretty gruesome by Jason's machete, and then Jason folds the bed upwards and crushes the dude's spine. So already we have 2 amazing Jason kills. Maybe the first one wasn't that amazing, but 2 Jason kills nonetheless. And the movie's not even 10 minutes in, and we've already seen 4 boobs. I think we counted
2 pair by this point of the film.
2 pair indeed.
And it's only about 10 minutes into the film, so it's a pretty high count. It lives up to the Friday the 13th style.
Yeah, it started off swinging.
So. What was your favorite death overall in this film?
My favorite death overall in the movie? See, I actually like that bed kill. I think that one got it going. But then once we get to Jason's Slaughterfest, I think those are all my favorite kills.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, his Slaughterfest at the...
So, would you say the rave is your favorite?
Yeah, the rave, even though he kills a bunch of people, so it's kind of cheating. But
the cornstalk rave.
Yeah, but he's on fire and stuff, and it's a amazing little scene. So.
If not a little silly, with the way.
Okay, no, go ahead.
No. What were you going to say?
Silly.
Yeah, well, there was some parts that are a little silly.
This movie is silly.
No, I mean silly. Maybe effects-wise would be the best way to put it. Like when he slices through the keg, but also slices through. The guy who was standing in front of the keg, like, slices through his shoulder. That just didn't look quite polished enough, in my opinion.
Oh, okay.
I think I can narrow it down a little bit better, though. I think my favorite kill is when one of the girls, she's the girlfriend of the guy who got stabbed in the bed. She's like passed out in a field and being taunted by Freddy. And this raver dude, this weird looking guy, gets on top of her and is all up on her. And that dude gets a wonderful kill by none other than Jason, killing both him and the girl underneath who was being assaulted by Jason and the dude.
The kill itself isn't what makes it awesome. It's the way he flings the raver rapist corpse into the cornfield like it's nothing.
Yeah,
like he's throwing a football.
It was really the most gruesome threesome I've ever seen, or foursome, because Freddy is messing with her in her dreams. She gets killed by Jason and is being assaulted by the raver dude. So it's like, not...
Poor girl couldn't catch a break. And on top of that, she had a real dick bag of a boyfriend.
Yeah.
But I did say when we were watching the film that they wrote her as such a stupid person that she kind of gets everything she deserves.
Yeah, they kind of make it seem like she's always just making the bad decisions. She's just one of those girls
She drinks, she smokes, she has daddy issues because she's with a practically I would say he's probably physically abusive. If he's talking to her like that, don't make me tell you twice.
But it's kind of like she likes it, so I don't know.
He has a cute ass, that's why.
And that's the line that seals her fate. Like, if that's your reasoning, then you deserve what's coming to you.
That's terrible. What was your favorite kill, Brianna?
What you just said.
Oh.
Not what... Okay, so... When he went on his slaughter rampage in the cornstalk party, that was my favorite. Because if any of you have seen any comic book movie and you see your favorite hero just totally kicking ass again and again, continuously in one scene, that's how I felt watching Jason. Just completely butcher everybody in sight. So I'm cheating a little bit, but...
Yeah, there was a lot of machete kills in this movie. A whole lot of machete kills. Compared to Jason X, considerably. I think there was more machete kills in this movie than there were kills in Jason X completely.
For as rusty and beaten up as that machete looks, it's still pretty damn sharp because he was cutting through people like butter.
Does he keep using the same machete, or does he keep finding a new machete?
No, one would assume that thing's like Negan's Lucille to Jason.
Yeah.
He's just standing there on his off day this is my machete. There are many like it, but this one is mine.
Yeah. And he's dumb, so...
I wouldn't want to switch up my machete. I'd like to keep the one I started with.
I mean, it's working for him.
Yeah.
I could just see him on, Thursday the 12th, just whistling a tune with a whetstone, sharpening his machete with love and care, getting ready for the day's work ahead.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Thursday the 12th, he's like, oh, man.
It's game time. I could just see him. He's got a little clipboard with X's and O's on it, but instead of a basketball court diagram, it's a layout of Crystal Lake, and he's just like, okay, so if they go there, I'm gonna kill him with this. I'm gonna hang him from this tree.
I have an underground tunnel system like Disneyland
with bells.
But what was your favorite kill, Michael Moore?
Oh, well, because, I'm the Freddy fanboy here, and I will fight the both of you to the end of days about this. Freddy's one, count them, he only gets one real kill in this film, and that one is far and away my favorite, because it plays like a really good classic Nightmare on Elm Street scene.
Okay. Yeah.
On par with something from the original. Because you got the kid who thinks he's awake, but he's really asleep. He drops the speed pill down the sink. Then his dead brother shows up in a bloody bathtub with his wrist slits. And then next thing we know, he's got these weird Lovecraftian tendrils coming out of the floor, drilling into his ankles. And then Freddy's just tossing him around the room like a rag doll, burns him, cuts him. Yeah. While his friends are watching through a barred window.
And that is a really good kill.
And that is brutal.
That's really good. And it seems like Freddy deserved to have 5 of those. There should have been even more characters specifically characters that we don't care about, that he gets to kill. Jason kills 1 million people that we don't care about. Why doesn't Freddy get any of those? He gets one kill, and it's a good character. It's a good character kill, but I think he deserved better.
Yeah, see, that's where my biggest... Well, what were you going to say, Brianna?
Just no.
Okay.
He talks too much.
That's what's fun about him. He's sadistic. He likes to fuck with them mentally before he actually kills them.
But here's the thing. There's a charming... Okay, I don't say charming, but there's a more clever, sophisticated way to be sadistic and everything. He's just ridiculous. Unpopular opinion, but he talks too much.
Yeah, he probably could have gotten a couple of those kills a little faster if he wasn't fucking with them so much. Perhaps,
but that is erroneous at this point.
Like in his one-liners, though, like I don't mind most of them, but like some of them, and when he's kicking Jason's ass, like with telekinesis or whatever. And he's just like flinging, and there's the ping pong, like the
he's using telekinesis to play pinball with Jason. It's hilarious.
But the noise too that makes I don't know.
It's a dream world. Of course, the sound effects are gonna be there.
Okay.
I thought it was lovely. It was great, and it totally feeds into my point from the Freddy's Dead podcast that he's Bugs Bunny, but a serial killer, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But this is where my biggest problem with the movie is that it really feels like nobody was on the same page with how to balance Freddy and Jason in this movie.
Yeah, it honestly seemed like to me it was made by people who understood Jason more than they understood Freddy, and they didn't know how to combine the two. So it's like, what did you say?
It really felt like it was written like a Nightmare on Elm Street film, but then they like put a completely separate Friday the 13th film in there.
Oh,
like shoehorned it in, and it kind of took over because of he just gets more screen time, more body count.
Yeah, so it's written like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie starring Jason Voorhees.
And it's weird because Freddy really feels like a secondary character when he's the driving force behind the events of the film. And like he's the evil mastermind behind it all, but plays second banana to Jason.
I just feel like there's a scene in the school, specifically just to pad Freddy's body count. There's a scene in the school where they're talking about Freddy all loud, and it's all weird, and you see a couple of the main cast like meet, and then they run off or whatever together. But in that scene, there's a bunch of students hearing them talk all weird. Some of them should have just heard that name, and we should have seen just a couple random fucking people, just like the weaker-minded or the people who can't handle it as strong as some other people should just have like fucking died.
Yeah, no. I think a perfect scene to add in there would show, instead of having Lori pass out like right then and there, maybe have her go back to class, and then one of the classmates who heard that conversation in the hallway falls asleep, and next thing you know, their face is all missing and blood is everywhere, and now the whole class is terrified, screaming.
Oh man,
and then they really have to quarantine the town.
Yeah, that would have been a good idea.
It's unfortunate because it seemed like something that wouldn't have added that much time to the movie to just give him a couple more kills or have a couple people dying throughout the school.
And really, the movie could have benefited from it because it's besides the rave scene, there's a good chunk before and after that rave scene where nobody dies.
Yeah, no,
like
it takes
a very drawn out, like 20-30 minutes without a death.
What was going on? And I get that they have to have that story like with all the kids and stuff kinda to introduce them, but we did not need that much time with all of them. We really didn't. I feel like every time someone was in a nightmare, they should have came out more affected, and I feel like a lot of the main characters just kept waking up right away. This movie didn't need that. They've been setting this movie up for 20 years. We don't need a setup.
And there's a few logic flaws in it. Like, you think somebody who'd been locked in Weston Hills for 4 years, a.k.a., what's his name? Jason Ritter played him, but... Will. Yeah, he's been locked up in there 4 years. His buddy, who escaped with him, had earlier in the film been shot in the ass with that pink drug. And he's like, okay, yeah, let's give it to my girlfriend. She'll sleep for 15 minutes, then we'll wake her up. It's like, that's a medical grade tranquilizer for the criminally insane. And you think that you could just wake her up in 15 minutes?
Yeah, they're running through the forest and she's bouncing around on their back. There's no waking that bitch up.
Yeah, no, it took lighting her hand on fire to wake her up.
So we have to say, like, by the time Jason and Freddy are up against each other, like the point the movie's been building up to, there's still about 30 minutes in the movie left. And Freddy has 1 kill and Jason has...
Probably close to 20 at that point.
Maybe even more. Just because that rave scene, there's a lot of people, and they didn't show what happened after that. I'm sure he killed more people.
Probably. I mean, he's got to get across the city somehow. I'm sure he just killed anybody who he came across doing it.
Yeah. But see, they should have shown that. They should have just kept the body count going. This movie is supposed to be really fun and filled with just like a bunch of kills and creative kills nonetheless.
And joy.
Yeah, joy. And there's a lot of gloom. There's a lot of just scenes with these people talking and trying to get away from it. I feel like they didn't need all that. They could have just like killed one of them off every 10 minutes. I would have been happy, but we didn't see any of that.
And going back to my feeling like it was written as a nightmare film, all those people in a coma in the hospital from being on too much Hypnosil. It's like they set that up and you're like, wow, that's pretty fucked up. And the main character's dad is involved. He's the doctor signing off on all this. I want to know more about that. And then it's like, meh, we don't got time.
Yeah, no, too little too late.
Maybe in the sequel.
Yeah,
Wait, there wasn't a sequel. That's right.
I hope there's a sequel someday.
That one basically killed the franchise of both of them until the reboots of both of them came out.
I loved the Jason in this movie, and Robert Englund. I like Freddy. I like how he is. I think he deserved better, but
you got to admit the makeup looked a lot better than Freddy's Dead.
Everything about this movie was better than Freddy's Dead. Oh my!
I told you that movie's bad, but I still love it.
But oh man, I wish we could compare like their kills a little bit more. But yeah, that aside, they didn't cast Kane Hodder in this movie. The director's reason, or so I've read, is because he wanted more of like a size differential between Jason and Freddy, so that Freddy's like looking up at Jason, because Kane Hodder and Robert Englund are close to the same size.
See, a better director though would have used trick photography to get that look.
I mean, liked
look at
how
what Peter
huge
Jackson
he was
able to do.
I liked how he was just a big, like, hulking son of a bitch. And it's kind of like in the Halloween reboots, Michael Myers is just fucking huge. And I like that. I like, it's fucking terrifying to me than Jason being 6 or 5'11".
So what you're telling me is you're only afraid of people that look like professional wrestlers?
Perhaps.
All right.
Well, I feel like I'm taller than Kane Hodder, so it's
I can understand that not being intimidating for you.
Yeah, it's a little less scary.
But I mean, you're also taller than Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, but that's in my mind.
That's all right. All right, that's a fair assessment.
But
I will say though, I like the Jason in the remake better than I like this Jason.
I love the Jason in the remake too. He's good. He does a good job. They did a good job with that one too. And the fight in this movie between Freddy and Jason, there's some good stuff. There's some ridiculous stuff.
It does get a little hokey when they get to the get Freddy into the real world, because he kind of like, I know kung fu, because he's just like kick him in the chest, and jump up really high, elbow to the shoulder.
Yeah, Stone Cold Stunner. Yeah, no, and then he was super quick apparently, because it was as if he had teleportation with how many different places he could get super quick.
Yeah, climbing up tall structures like 20 feet in the air.
But I guess if Jason can do it, he can do it. But we must say, while they were in Jason's head, and Jason was coming up to Freddy, there was like some water spilling out in the factory that was in Jason's head, and Jason like looked at it like, water? No.
Yeah, they really dropped the ball on Jason in this part.
Jason's been swimming since he was thrown into the water.
Their basic logic was, he died from water, so he must be scared of it. And their logic for Freddy is, he died by fire, he must be scared of it. Which makes a little more sense for Freddy than Jason. The problem is we have seen throughout several films, Jason has no problem hiding underwater.
He has a killer butterfly stroke.
Or, not even a butterfly stroke, just walking across the bottom of the lake.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not buoyant. I sink like a stone.
No,
But he's got a hell of a jump. Because I always picture, like, whenever he grabs somebody out of a boat, he's literally jumping from the bottom of the lake up.
Yeah, for sure.
Pew!
And I appreciate in this movie that they show, like, some Freddy Krueger backstory, and they show some Jason backstory, and we get to see young Jason's face. But then this movie drops the ball again, because we don't get to see Jason's face. Like,
Which is a staple of the franchise.
A staple of the franchise.
We just got to see his goofy mouth when they were doing a CPR bit.
Well, where they should have, like, he was drowning or whatever, and they're like, oh, we need to give him CPR. And instead of just, like, turning him over, they had to give him CPR, I guess. Then he woke up, and the car flew out, and Jason flew out of the car, and it looked terrible.
Yeah, this movie does look pretty dated.
It was very Scooby-Doo.
CG effects.
But for some reason, they have a couple like false deaths where the gasoline that they use at the campsite while Freddy and Jason were fighting on the dock, where Jason usually finishes up his stuff at Camp Crystal Lake, they put gasoline everywhere and exploded it, and Freddy and Jason flew into the water all on fire, and you could think that maybe they're dead at this point, and Freddy's arm has been torn off by Jason and stuff. And they have this nice shot where they see someone walking up to them, and it's all slow, and so you would think it's Jason, and you could see the machete, and they're walking up, and they pan up, and it's Freddy, one-armed with the machete. And this one's a little ridiculous, because I don't think it would actually work. Not that matters, but Jason shows up at the last second and slams Freddy's knives through Freddy's heart, and then Jason basically is like, whoa, falls back into the water like he tripped.
That dock was slippery, man.
Yeah, very slippery. I just got out of the water, bro. But you
no running around the pool.
And Freddy drops the machete, and the blonde-haired girl, who's been like the main character of this whole thing,
Discount Brittany Murphy.
Yeah, who lived in the nightmare house, cuts off Freddy's head. And Freddy's head goes into the water, and I think his body does too. And so she gets to kill Freddy Krueger, which is crazy, because then we haven't seen Robert Englund since. So congratulations, bitch. You killed Robert Englund.
Well, I mean, that is traditionally how nightmare movies end, is with the final girl getting the kill.
Yeah, but is it fair that she gets the last one? It's not fair. I feel like Freddy deserves more.
Before we wrap this thing up, I do want to talk about one thing from the special features that I've seen for years, and that's talking about the original ending they had in mind, which it made it all the way to like storyboards before they just figured it wasn't feasible for them to do. It was essentially with Freddy and Jason on the dock, and then like all the water drains from Crystal Lake, and this giant demonic hand comes up, grabs them, drags them down to hell, and then there would be like a cut to black for a little bit, and then the final shots of the movie would be Freddy and Jason in this gladiator arena in hell having to fight each other for eternity.
See, that's a super rad idea.
That sounds awesome.
That's super rad.
But the technology and the budget just wasn't there.
Yeah, and there's a couple CGI spots in the movie, but one's particularly bad where Freddy's like a slug.
He's supposed to be the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland. That's why he's got the hookah. The who are you?
Well, it looked terrible. But I don't think that they could have handled it. It would have made it look even sillier than they wanted it to. And the movie, it seems like it takes itself seriously through most of it, and that might have been its downfall. Like, it could have just been better if they had just a little more fun with it and just made it a little more ridiculous.
I've been thinking about it as we've been talking about the movie, and it really, now it feels like they were trying to make two separate movies. They were trying to make a Nightmare on Elm Street movie and a Friday the 13th movie at the same time, and lightly intertwine them, culminating in a big battle at the end. And but through maybe editing or cutting for pacing and things like that, it comes out more as a Friday the 13th film that the bad guy happens to be Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
And like, ooh, I'm orchestrating this evil scheme.
But they did the thing where one of them has to be the good guy, and they make Jason the good guy. And
yeah, they play him off as just this big dumb idiot who wants to go home.
Yeah, and
he never wanted to go to Springwood.
Yeah, and so they give you sympathy for Jason because he was drowned, and he already had that sympathy, so I understand that a little bit more. But they end the movie after Freddy's head's been cut off with a big hulking Jason walking out of the water holding Freddy's head.
And completely unaffected by the water, I might add.
Yeah, completely unaffected.
I mean, judging by the writer's logic, the last shot should have been Jason on the bottom of the lake, just how do I get out
or running
here?
out. Oh!
And then Freddy gives a nice wink to the camera as if to tell you there will be a sequel. Then it came out and didn't do very well.
It made money, but I don't think that the studio wanted to dick with that again, which they should. I think they could definitely do a sequel and just make it way better.
Apparently there's a comic out there that's Freddy versus Jason versus Ash from the Evil Dead, and that was kind of tossed around as a sequel idea for a little bit.
That'd be kind of cool. And that'd be one that I feel like they could mix together.
But that one they could go way over the top with because of, the Evil Dead franchise is just that way.
Yeah,
just
but
that over the top.
I think that would fit better. Because I was just reading an article about that. Because, that's all that's shared on my Facebook page. I was just reading something where Ash was on that list, but number 1 was Michael Myers. And I just don't feel like that would fit as well.
That would just be boring.
Yeah, because him and
Jason's
Jason...
a clone of Michael Myers.
Yeah.
That's all he is.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that would be fun. That'd be really fun.
Well, that one would give us a good guy to root for and be like, yeah, kick their asses. That would be a really good one.
But I think he would, destroy Jason. I feel like with his chainsaw and stuff like that, I feel like he'd get Jason cut in half real quick.
Yeah, but, I mean, he doesn't die, so then we'd have Jason, running on his hands after Ash with the machete tucked under his hockey mask. Just, I'm gonna get you.
There's a shot. I'm really disappointed in this movie for not showing Jason's face. But they did show young Jason's face multiple times, so I guess I can't complain.
Yeah, but they could have focused less on that and more on big Jason's face, because that's like the highlight of the end of every Friday the 13th movie.
Why?
You're like, oh, you saw his face, the movie's about to end.
But they could have just done it when he was walking up out of the lake with Freddy's head. He just doesn't have his mask on.
Or break the mask in half so
yeah.
you see part of his face.
Hook it up a little bit. Just a little bit.
All right, well, I think that's good a place as any to end it. So thanks for listening, guys, and tune in next week.
Thank you.
Bye.